Welcome to Uccello's for today's media luncheon. Our players are Matt Judon, junior defensive end, and junior wide receiver Jamie Potts. Coach Mitchell in the middle. Coach, if you can talk about the Hillsdale game, and then we will move on to homecoming in Wayne State.
Sure. I thought our team had a great week of practice. We were very excited to play the game. You could tell based on our pregame warm-up, our approach to the trip, that we had a lot of guys are excited to take the field together. Again, back-to-back weeks, not necessarily the start that we wanted. Received the kickoff, second play from scrimmage, throw a pick, their DB, Hillsdale's credit, made a nice play on the ball. And our defense goes out, and once again, kind of a broken record. We misfit something up front. We can't get the guy down. It's a 53-yard touchdown, so you look up. A couple minutes into the game, we're down 7-0. But from there, our guys have handled a lot of adversity this season. I think the way that they handled the game spoke to that. We came back, our offense put together a nice drive to get the score to 7-7, and then for the rest of the way out, our defense was just either getting stops or creating turnovers the rest of the first half, and our offense really wasn't having to settle for field goals. We were effective down in the red zone and getting touchdowns. So I thought the end of the first half and the start of the second half was obviously big for Grand Valley. We had a 14-point lead. Our offense got the ball with about 3 minutes left on the clock. We drove down, managed the situation very well, and threw a go ball to Keontre Miskell in the end zone. He did for the touchdown. That gave us a 21-point lead. So instead of going into the locker room down 14 with them getting the ball back, we had a 3-score lead, and then our defense came out, got a 3-and-out. Offense took it down, extended it to 28-point lead. So those were two big possessions that extended the ball game, which was key for us. When you break down both sides of the ball from an offensive perspective, having Heath back out at quarterback, and you could really tell his leadership, getting us in the right protections, the right plays. Obviously, our running game has been more effective. We continue to get better up front with our offensive line and tight ends, and then that allows us to have cleaner pockets. And I thought Heath did a very good job of taking what the defense was giving him. We had a lot more balls completed from the 5 to 15 to 20-yard range, and had different guys chipping in that way. So overall, a pretty balanced attack offensively, which we like to try to be, and allowed us to stay out of some really third and long situations. My third down conversion percentage on Saturday was 62%. We've been in the 20s earlier in the year, so that's obviously big for our squad. Defensively, except for the one play, did a good job stopping the run. And our defensive line, we got some physical play out of our guys up front, and our linebackers and some of our overhang players, Dante Hurst, Marquez Goldman, Garrett Punier did a good job of fitting up the run. And then when we got Hillsdale into some third and long situations, we were able to get pressure and really keep La Prairie off balance. We were able to sack him 4 times, and then the previous games he'd only been sacked 6. So we were able to get, obviously the pressure that we needed up front. So, I'm disappointed that we're up 42-7. We're a little banged up defensively and started to take out some of our frontline guys that our second-line guys gave up those scores, especially the first score. We've got some redshirt freshmen running around with the heads cut off that have got to they got to step up. They got to help our football team in those situations. And so, on the second drive, when they're starting to drive, we threw our starters back in, and we shouldn't have to do that. We should have the depth on this football team, and we should have the guys that come in that can be able to, help this team out and not have to rely on the same 4 defensive line starters the entire game. So we've got to definitely work on that from that side of the ball. Offensively, I think what's happening over there, which is a good thing, is we're getting more competition at offensive line. We had Dan DeLuca start his second game, and Aaron Cox started his second game. So when we start getting Cameron Hobbs back off injury and Eric LeBoon off injury, there's going to be some competition to figure out who our 5 starters were. There really wasn't much competition heading into the season offensive line. We've got redshirt freshmen that are developing and playing better and are continuing to grow, and they're competing. They're competing for other guys. So sitting here on a Monday, I have no idea who our 5 offensive line starters will be. That'll be determined by health and who has a good week in practice. I think the other factor it's working out is we're getting better at tight end. Joe Worth is a little banged up and didn't play well as he needed to at the beginning of the season. He's playing better, and we're getting more production out of some redshirt freshman tight ends. Brian Moran is progressing. He's not there yet. He continues to get better. So all those factors are allowing us to run the ball more effectively. And when we can run the ball, our play actions are there, and we're able to protect our quarterback better in the pocket, and that's why you're probably, seeing the result that you're seeing. So for us, it's the next step. Next step Saturday is Wayne State. It'll be more about our preparation and our approach Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and how pregame goes on Saturday, and so we'll get ready for them. But speaking in general about Wayne State, they're only about 4 or 5 points away from being undefeated. They had the ball with a lead against Michigan Tech in their opener, and very similar to our ODU game. They couldn't close out the game and lost on a last-second field goal, 18-17 to Michigan Tech. Then they reel off 3 straight wins, including a win over a nationally ranked Carson Newman team, 41-31. And really wasn't even that close if you look at the margin of the score. And then last week against Tiffin, they had plenty of opportunities to win that game, and came up 3 points short against Tiffin at home. So it's a team that has a lot of upperclassmen on both sides of the ball. Desmond Martin's a very good tailback. We faced some good tailbacks here at the beginning of the season, and he's right there. Big challenge for us defensively would be their 2-quarterback system. Carl Roscoe is their starter, and their offense revolves around him from the standpoint they're more balanced. They can definitely throw the ball down the field, and it's a more balanced play-action type offense. And then they'll bring in a change of pace with Doug Griffin, and he's been very effective the last couple games against Northwood and Tiffin, coming in and give him a great change of pace. And he's a little bit more of a runner. Not saying that he doesn't throw, but he's got more rushing attempts than he does passing attempts, and it features him running the ball a bit more. So that's a challenge, for us defensively to try to manage 2-quarterback system and a lot of different personnel groups. Defensively, they're athletic. They'll send some pressures. When you look at them statistically, they have some tackles for losses and some sacks, and a lot of that's based on their athletes, and a lot of that's based on their pressure. So last couple of defenses we played have been a little bit more, base looks, and so it's going to be the next step, the next challenge for our offense is being able to handle some more moving parts from the defensive side of the ball. So this is really a huge week for our team. Coaches and players obviously started yesterday for our coaching staff, and today, and for our players, we'll get on it tomorrow after their off day. But our preparation is going to really spell a lot about how we do on Saturday because of the looks that we're getting. So got to get guys in there, get them healthy, get them back feeling 100%, mentally focused, and ready to take the field on Saturday. And looking forward to getting back home to Lubbers. And we've had, I think over 30,000 fans in the first 2 home games. Got a homecoming contest coming up. Bob Mitchell, the president of our Football Alumni Association, is getting inducted into our Hall of Fame. There'll be a lot of alums back, and should be great weather, and just excited to get back out to Lubbers with what should be another great crowd.
Matt, can you talk a little bit about the defense and some of the things from a player's perspective that you've seen have changed in the last few weeks? You guys have certainly improved.
Well, we're getting back to having fun. We're having a lot of fun on that side of the ball. And when you can stop the run and pin your ears back and get after the quarterback, as a defensive line, you get to be a little more creative in your technique, and it becomes a lot more fun when you're winning and up on the scoreboard.
Matt, you're with the offensive line, the competition that you're talking about now, do you think that was missing in some of the first couple weeks of the season when they weren't performing?
Yeah,
well?
I think so a little bit. I think the situation we had at the beginning of the season was this. I'm going to pretty much go right down the line. Eric LeBoon was out for a couple weeks in practice and didn't practice much, throughout the course of fall camp. Jim Walsh, had a wrist injury, and he didn't practice a whole lot throughout the course of fall camp because of the injury they had to his wrist. And Peyton McCallum, our senior right guard, is coming off a knee surgery, and he was a little limited too. So you had basically what you had throughout the course of camp, you had some guys that had played that were banged up and didn't practice as much as they probably needed to in order to get technically back to where they should have been. And then you got a bunch of redshirt freshmen that are going to be good players, I think, but they're still redshirt freshmen learning how to play O-line. Cameron Hobbs. Aaron Cox hasn't played. He's a sophomore, but hasn't really played a whole lot. Dan DeLuca, and there's other guys. And so your upperclassmen are hurt, and your freshmen are freshmen, and there's no shortcut to that. And so what we're doing now is we got guys getting back healthy, and then these redshirt freshmen and these first-time starters are showing up every day to practice. They're taking a ton of reps. They're getting coached. They're getting coached hard. And they're progressing. We're getting better. I mean, I don't think it's really anything magical. We just keep practicing and we keep getting after it. Same thing with the tight end position. You know, Joe Wirth is our most experienced tight end, has a injury and PCL injury and can't really go and doesn't really play against Azusa Pacific at all. And so you got a bunch of redshirt freshmen and guys that haven't played. Jeremy Byers is a sophomore, but he hasn't played at all. Brian Moran, a redshirt freshman. Joey Warner hasn't played a lot. You know, I go through the list of guys and they weren't very good. You know, they weren't playing up to their ability, and so it's just one of those deals. It's a process. You got to take reps and keep getting better. And I think we're getting healthier and we're getting better, and you can see the process and is working. That the product is better on the field than it has been. And now it'll be interesting because Dan DeLuca and Aaron Cox got forced into duty, as I mentioned here a little bit ago, and they're not playing too bad. So when Hobbs comes off his ankle injury and LeBoon comes off his thigh contusion, which we'll see how that progresses this week, there'll be competition in those spots. I mean, Jim Walsh is playing great. Revenberg is playing well. Peyton McCown played better. Those are our three. I know those three guys will be starting. The other two, I couldn't even tell you right now here on Monday who they're going to be. So that's good. It's good for our football team, and hopefully those guys are on edge and hungry heading into Tuesday's practice.
And Jamie, just specifically for the offense, what does it mean to have Heath Parling back in the lineup? What does he do for you guys offensively?
Yeah, it's good for our offense to have Heath in there. He obviously gets us in a lot of good looks and the right protections usually. And just from a leadership standpoint, we know he's going to get in there and compete. And I know a lot of guys in our offense feel comfortable with him in there and want to compete for him.
And Matt, defensively, you guys have been forcing a lot of turnovers. How much of a focus has that been in practice over these last couple of weeks?
Well, we don't focus on that as much. We just focus on playing great defense and being technically sound, and that's just a result of doing those things.
Okay, thanks for coming out.